Hello everybody and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we're going to be working on the final review for the Paletteful Packs October 2024 box. And in this video, I will be working on a speed painting using only the products that was given to me in this month's box. On another note, I just want to let you know that I am not sponsored by Paletteful Packs. So this is all my own and my own review. Also, I just want to let you know that in that final review, I'll be going over the pros and cons or anything that I found out while doing this art piece. If there was good or bad or anything that happened, I will let you know in that final review. So let's go ahead, get this turned around, and let's get started. All right, so I started out by going ahead and removing the paper from the booklet, so that way I can see just how easy it is to tear out these pages with the perforated edges that they do have in the book. And it tore out really, really easy. So that is a plus. I also taped it to the board so that way if there's any bleed through, I will find out after I get through doing my piece here. So when I'm using these, I really did wish that they had a yellow in this. It would have definitely helped, but I did layer some of my colors together, such as some of my brighter oranges, and layered it on top with either my gray tone here. So that way I can add just a little bit of that light orange color right on the edge line to give it a little bit of a glow, but it didn't do too much. I really would have been happier if I had a yellow in there. But as I went, I erased my lines and I kept on going a little bit at a time. I used my darker orange or the caramel in order to make my darker lines. And if I needed to go a little bit darker than that, I would layer on top of it with the violets to make it a little bit darker. So using those violets on top of this darker orange or my caramel, which was my darker orange, then I was able to make it even darker. So there I am. As you can see, you see that violet just kind of popping in there every now and then. And that is how I toned it down or gave it a shadow to make those oranges just a little bit darker in areas. So this is a very good way also if you want to learn color mixing to get a different color. This is definitely a way to do it because you're limited to the colors that you have. So I put in some more of my lighter colors on the top, but then I'm layering on top with some of my darker colors. So definitely you want to go light to dark when working with these markers. Toning it down just a little bit more, giving it more shadow. Then I will end up coming through with my purple on the top of the stem to make that a little bit darker. And now I'm taking out my black marker to kind of give it a little bit of a shadow and maybe some speckles here and there with my liner. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape from my piece here and give you guys a little bit of a close-up so you can see some of those little speckles with the liner, some of the black details that I put in there, just some little speckles and dots and some little lines to give it a little bit of character. I do have a little bit of smudging going on where my water-based marker was still a little bit wet, but the alcohol markers dried really well. But as you can see, the markers did bleed through the paper, so I am very glad that I went ahead and taped that onto my board instead of working directly on the book itself. All right, so as you can see, here is my finished piece, the pumpkin, and I used all the products in the Paletteful Pack box. Now, I did learn something after the fact about the Tombow water-based inks here, and I will have to go over that with you guys here shortly and let you know what that is. First, I wanted to cover one important thing, that when I remove this, as you can see in the final speed painting, I did show the back of this, and as you can tell, it did bleed through. So keep that in mind if you were to use the paper that they gave you, the Strathmore Vision mixed media paper. Make sure that if you're working inside this book to lay something like a plastic or something to protect the other page from the bleed through. So that's if you're working in the book. Now, if you're like me who likes to rip out the pages and work like taping it onto a board, then you should have no issue. I don't mind if my board gets a little bit, dirty. It's fine. So keep that in mind. Also, as you can tell, when I flip it over, all of the bleed through seems to have happened with the alcohol-based inks. Now, I did use some of the water-based inks here on the little stump here, or his little stem here, and the dark green did not bleed through. Then I used a violet over the top of that to try and make that darker, and as you can see, the violet came through, but none of the black came through. I used the water-based ink for that, and I don't see any black going through. I also used it up in here, and then I used the fine liner for some little speckles, and that didn't go through neither. So it just seems to be the alcohol-based inks. You just gotta watch out. They do bleed through on the paper. Now, here's where I wanna go ahead and get into this. As you can tell, a lot of these are alcohol-based inks. I like to always say that alcohol-based inks, usually it's a good note to leave, is that they're usually not light fast. Even the Copic are not light fast, but they're super nice to use because their blendability and smoothness that they give really they work really well for illustrators. So if you like to maybe make prints of your artwork to sell, then that would be fine, but trying to use them as something that you can sell like the original, they're not light fast, keep that in mind, probably not a good idea. But they work so smoothly, and there ain't really a whole lot of marker lines in there, so that is super nice. Plus that, I really like the brush nib on this because it feels really spongy. The other thing too, I think I did say this before in my last video, and I really need to correct myself on them. The Tombow, usually I always say, you know, it's kind of a good note to kind of keep, but always keep in mind to check it out anyway. I usually like to say that the water-based inks usually are light fast. But in this case, the Tombow, I checked them out. I did have an artist on there that did say that they are light fast, but then looking at the actual Tombow, they were saying that they are not light fast. I had other artists who have tested these out and tried to give their own light fast assessment, and all of them were fading except for maybe one color that didn't fade as quickly. So I am just gonna say that these are water-based, but they are not light fast. I would not sell your artwork. And I think I said before when I was opening up the box and I did see the water-based that they should be light fast. These are an exception. They are not light fast. But if you were to use like the water-based inks, they are, I don't know if it's just the Indian ink or what it is, but if you use like the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pens, now these here are water-based ink, but they are light fast. So these have been tested and they are light fast. They're super nice, but that's not what's in the Paletteful pack box. Plus that, these here, Liquitex acrylic ink, I do use those also, and they are light fast. So they have an excellent light fast on these, and these are water-based inks. So just keep in mind to, if you do see water-based inks, make sure you look them up just to make sure if they do have the light fast qualities, or at least the testing done to where they are light fast. These unfortunately are not from what I see. I see quite a few comments or quite a few things that I looked up saying that they are not. And just because I do not want to take that risk, I would say I would not use these in order to sell. So this here could be used as just help with doing something like I did, and then making prints and then selling it. So just better be safe than sorry, and definitely look up your products before you think that they are light fast. So those are not. And other than that, everything seemed to work really, really well. I absolutely loved working with this artwork and doing this, but there's another thing that I didn't like about the products, and it was, I liked using them, but don't get me wrong, the colors were gorgeous and they blended really good with the Copic because I had to try and use them real quick. Otherwise they might end up making some lines, but it was the caps on these are really hard to pull off. Now, maybe if you use them all the time, maybe they might loosen up. But after doing that and pulling these caps off for so long, my hands started to feel like they were bruised, and it really hurt trying to take the lids off because of how tight they are. Now you could probably undo them and just leave them set aside, but I don't usually like doing that because I'm afraid that my markers will end up drying out, so I don't like to leave them with the lids off. I usually like to put my lids on and take them off when I need them, but this definitely hurt my hands quite a bit trying to pull these lids off. They definitely were a killer. I did enjoy working with it, even though that was painful. The other thing too is that they said that these have a very low scent to them. I can smell them, and they are still kind of strong. If you are a very sensitive person with your respiratory and you can really pick up smells really well, this may end up bothering you, because I do smell them. Even though they try and say it's a light smell, it's still a smell. Like I can smell that. Like I smelt it every time I took the lid off, and I don't think I sniffed it every single time, otherwise I'm losing my mind here. But yeah, they do have a smell to these. But other than that, everything else worked extremely well. Only bad thing that I can see that I absolutely didn't like was the lids. Those things hurt. Those were painful. Oh my gosh. Maybe you need to like put some maybe you need to put something like, I don't know, put something on there, put something. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this speed painting that I did, and hopefully this helped you out with any of the products here, or wanting to know how they felt or how they did. At least you get a better understanding on what the pros and maybe some of the cons are. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, if you could, this definitely helps the channel, but leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video, or leave a comment. All those things help the video grow and help out, because YouTube and their algorithm, you know how it is. So anyways, until next time, bye you guys.